Hello, how are you doing today? Let's be honest, life changes after 60. Your body changes, your routines change, and yes, your relationship changes too. Maybe you're retired now and spend more time at home. Maybe physical touch has become less frequent. Or maybe emotional distance has quietly crept in. But here's the thing no one tells you. Intimacy isn't just about what happens in the bedroom. It's about laughter during breakfast, a shared memory over coffee, a hand reaching out during a tough day. Rekindling intimacy isn't about going back in time. It's about learning each other again in the present. So what's the unexpected way to bring back closeness? It starts with something surprisingly simple, yet often overlooked: conversation. But not the kind of conversation most couples fall into over the years. Not the practical, surface-level exchanges like, "What's for dinner?" or "Did you take your pills?" No, this is something deeper. We're talking about soul-touching, curiosity-driven conversation. The kind that invites vulnerability and opens new pathways into each other's hearts. You see, just because you've been together for decades doesn't mean you've learned everything there is to know. People evolve, desires shift, dreams change, and if you're not asking, you're not discovering. Try asking questions you've never dared to ask before, questions that stir the soul. What did you give up for our life together? What do you still long for in silence? What memory of us do you return to when you need hope? These aren't just words, they're keys. Keys that unlock emotional intimacy that may have been buried under routine and time. These kinds of questions don't just pass the hours. They open doors, some that have never been opened, and some that simply need to be reopened with a gentler touch. And when we feel seen, truly seen, the flame that once flickered in youth can blaze again, sometimes with more warmth, more depth, and more beauty than we ever thought possible. Because closeness isn't built on proximity, it's built on presence. And presence begins with truly listening. Many couples later in life think that their chapter on passion is closed, that the heat of young love was just a fleeting flame meant for the early years, but that's simply not true. In fact, passion doesn't have an expiration date. It evolves, it deepens, it becomes more textured with time. Intimacy after 60 can be richer, more meaningful, and more emotionally fulfilling than ever before. Why? Because by now, you've lived through the storms together. You've walked through fire and come out stronger. You've raised families, navigated career changes, celebrated milestones, buried loved ones, fought hard, forgiven deeply, and stood by each other when it would have been easier to walk away. That history, that resilience, it's not baggage. It's your secret ingredient. It's what makes your connection unlike any other. You're not two strangers discovering one another for the first time. You're two souls who've seen the very worst and best of each other, and still, you choose to stay. That kind of bond creates a foundation for passion that's not just physical, but emotional, spiritual, and profoundly human. You're not starting from scratch. You're adding layers to a masterpiece already written. Each touch now carries the weight of memory. Each glance says, "I remember us, and I still want us." And in that realization, there's a kind of passion the younger version of you could never fully understand. Because it's built not just on chemistry, but on decades of choosing love over and over again. But here's the practical side. Intimacy takes effort, even now. Love in our later years isn't about grand declarations or flashy gestures. It's about consistency, presence, and the courage to show up every single day. One of the best ways to truly reconnect is through small, thoughtful rituals that gently say, "I'm here, and I still care." Maybe it's a weekly date on the porch, watching the sun dip below the trees, with 2 cups of tea and no need for conversation, just the comfort of being side by side. Maybe it's dancing in the kitchen, slowly swaying to an old song that once played at your wedding or in your first car, or simply placing your phone down after dinner, looking them in the eye and saying, "Tell me something I don't know about you," as if you're just beginning to know them again. These may seem like fleeting gestures, but they carry immense weight because they whisper, "I see you, I still choose you, I'm still learning you." And that whisper, it's powerful. It's a balm for the tired heart, a thread that stitches two souls closer after decades together. In a world that rushes forward, where our bodies slow and the noise gets louder, these quiet moments become the anchor. They're proof that even in this chapter, perhaps especially in this chapter, love still lives and it still grows. And yes, physical intimacy matters too, deeply. But it doesn't have to look or feel the same as it did in your 20s, and that's not a loss. In fact, it can be a profound gain, because now, love isn't rushed. It isn't driven by urgency or performance. It's driven by presence, intention, and trust. Intimacy after 60 can be found in a soft touch on the back as you pass in the hallway, in a lingering hug that says, "I'm still here," in holding hands while you drift to sleep, in lying quietly together, letting the silence speak volumes. These moments may seem small, but they're sacred. They remind you that love is not about perfection. It's about presence. When you let go of the old scripts, of expectations shaped by youth and comparison, you make room for a deeper kind of connection. One built not on adrenaline, but on affection. Not on fireworks, but on the quiet glow that warms your soul. That kind of intimacy, it's not performative, it's not polished, it's raw, honest, and deeply human. Because after all the years, all the changes, and all the miles you've walked together, physical closeness becomes less about the body and more about the bond. It becomes a celebration of survival, of shared stories, of choosing each other again and again. So let this video be your reminder. It's never too late to feel close again, to rediscover your partner, to light that spark, not with grand gestures, but with everyday connection. The kind of connection that grows not from perfection, but from presence, from choosing each other again, every day. If this message moved you, share it with someone who needs to hear it. And don't forget to subscribe to The Best Chapter, because your story is far from over. The most meaningful moments might just be the ones waiting ahead.